After 3 years of marriage, he had seen everything she did for him and knew she loved him deeply. He had always thought they would live together like this for the rest of their lives. "Okay, if you don't have time, I can go find a lawyer." He was very busy, so busy that he didn't even have time to eat with her, so he probably wouldn't have time to handle these trivial matters, she thought, feeling an indescribable sadness rising within her. The mocking look in her eyes made him extremely uncomfortable. A flicker of darkness flashed in his eyes, and an inexplicable anger rose within him. He took the divorce papers from her hand, pulled out the fountain pen he always carried, and signed his name with a swift motion. "I'll let my lawyer handle this matter." With that, he strode out of the room, and at the same time, he stepped out of her world. Hearing the sound of the car engine starting and driving away, she could no longer hold back and knelt down, hugging her knees and sobbing uncontrollably. Her tears fell one by one onto the expensive Italian wool carpet, soaking it. Ah-hae left. Without even asking why, he signed the divorce papers nonchalantly. Even though she knew he didn't love her, his actions still deeply hurt her. The fear of being abandoned by her parents in the past came rushing back, leaving her feeling cold all over. She didn't even know what the past 3 years of perseverance meant. She sat dumbfounded on the carpet, crying until she felt no more pain, her heart completely numb. It turned out she was always the extra person. No matter how hard she tried, the result was always the same. It turned out. She didn't know what else she could do or what she should do. Finally, she picked up the phone and called a number she hadn't contacted in a long time. In a daze, she said, "I want to go home, come pick me up," then hung up, indifferently taking out her suitcase and packing her few clothes. With a suitcase in hand and a small black handbag on her shoulder, Faye Summer left the villa she both loved and hated with all her heart. On the wide asphalt road, her lonely and sorrowful silhouette was imprinted. #### Chapter 4, Heartache, etched in memory, Screech. A limited edition black Rolls-Royce stopped beside her, and a burly man in a cold black shirt stepped out of the car. "I'm here to take you home." Faye Summer looked up at the newcomer, forcing a smile that was more painful than tears, pretending nothing was wrong as she greeted him. "Long time no see, Jake. You've become even more cold and dashing. Don't smile, it's hideous. If you want to cry, then cry. Once you're done, forget all that nonsense and come home with me." Jake's cold voice revealed a hint of concern, though he wasn't good at expressing it. Faye Summer dropped her suitcase, clutching her chest as she threw herself into his arms, sobbing, "Jake, it hurts, my heart hurts so much, so much." The cold man held her close, listening to her continuous cries of pain. His icy face showed traces of anger, and a terrifying murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Faye Summer had never known she was so fragile, nor had she ever felt heartbreak like this after a breakup. She wanted to cry, just cry, to let all the pain in her heart out. Just this once, let her be willful. She would never love anyone again. The taste of heartbreak was enough to be etched in her memory forever. She was too weak to endure a second wound, it would destroy her, kill her. "Darling, Mommy only has you left." That evening, Derek Carter returned home to find the usual bright lights absent, and the dining table devoid of a lavish dinner. Only an empty house greeted him. In an instant, he was stunned, and the image of that beloved figure flashed in his mind. Perhaps she's asleep. He reassured himself, heading upstairs, pushing open the bedroom door, and turning on the light. The room was tidy, not a thing out of place, but the large double bed felt cold, missing her presence. Suddenly, an inexplicable fear gripped him, as if he had lost something very important. He frantically searched every corner of the house, but the familiar figure was nowhere to be found. She left. She really left. He staggered back to the bedroom, sat down on the bed, his mind blank. He couldn't understand why his heart hurt so much. He couldn't control his actions, his reason was drowned by emotions. Suddenly, he noticed a letter on the nightstand, a pristine white envelope without a name. His hands trembled as he opened it. On the paper, scented with a faint floral fragrance, a sentence was written in blue ink: "Nothing is impossible to let go of. Once it hurts, naturally, you will let go. Derek, I am giving you back your freedom, no longer binding you with love." His deep black eyes suddenly contracted, and his fingertips crushed the letter in his hand. She dared to leave on her own. He only agreed to a divorce, he did not permit her to leave. She still owed him, hadn't repaid everything, and had no right to leave. He wouldn't allow her to leave. He quickly grabbed his phone to call her, but a sweet voice on the line said, "Sorry, the number you have dialed is currently switched off." He called repeatedly, each time more disappointed. Chapter 5, understood. They are gone 4 years later. Bliss Coffee, located at the end of a small alley on Felicity Street in M City, had once been featured in magazines. It was said that if couples held hands and came to this Bliss Coffee and ordered the lovers combo, they would be forever happily sweet. Happiness, a very elusive thing, yet something everyone desires. Just the name alone makes people feel warm. Can one truly find happiness here? Countless men and women had asked this question, to which the owner would simply smile and ask back, "At this moment, are you happy?" Seeing the shy, happy expressions of the young men and women, the owner would smile and walk away. Happiness? You already have the answer in your heart, why ask me? Mummy, mummy. Mummy, come out quickly. A little boy around 3 or 4 years old hurriedly ran in, his childish voice echoing throughout the cafe. A beautiful woman in a floral dress emerged from the kitchen, walked over, and patted the boy's head. "What's wrong? Look at you, all sweaty from running. If you fall, don't cry to me." "Mummy, Dandan is sick, I was playing with Dandan in the water, and Dandan isn't moving anymore." The boy lifted a furry object in his hand, his face full of concern. Faye Summer looked at the parrot, now barely clinging to life in her son's hands, silently praying for it. Birds are meant to fly in the sky, not swim in water. If it survived the boy's rough handling, it was certainly lucky. "Ethan, tell Mommy, what is Dan?" Faye Summer felt it was necessary to teach her son a lesson about living creatures, so he wouldn't accidentally harm his pets and then cry about it next time. The little boy was named Ethan Summer, the tiny embryo in her womb back then, who after 10 months of growth and effort, had turned into this lively little boy. "I know, Mommy said Dan is a parrot, and parrots are birds." The boy was very smart, remembering everything Mommy told him, and he looked up proudly. "So, Ethan, do you know that birds will die if they stay in water too long?" Faye Summer pulled him to an empty seat beside her, patiently explaining. Ethan Summer looked at her with a confused expression and pouted, asking, "Mommy, what is die?" "Die means you won't see them again, they go away from you, understand?" Faye Summer's mouth twitched slightly, regretting discussing this with her son, who was only 3 years old and might not understand such concepts. To her surprise, the little boy suddenly shouted, looking pleased, "I get it." What? What did he understand? This time, it was Faye Summer who didn't understand. Die is like Papa and Uncle Charles, right? Papa and Uncle Charles died, they left Ethan and Mommy, they died. Faye Summer was immediately stunned. Who taught him logic like this? Chapter 6, Too Shocked. What nonsense is this? Luckily, Molly Weaver isn't here, otherwise, this kid would surely drive her crazy. As for the other person, never mind, he wouldn't know anyway. Ethan, we'll discuss this matter when you're older. For now, let Mommy help you heal Dandan. Why don't you go upstairs and take a bath first? The young boy, Ethan Summer, shook his head, rolled his eyes, and took out a guinea pig almost as big as his small hand from his little backpack. Mommy, I want to take Cuddle for a walk. Please heal Dandan quickly. He had promised Mia to go for a walk. Mia smelled nice, and he liked playing with her. The little guy, trying to act grown-up, pulled out a string to tie around the guinea pig Cuddle's neck but struggled to do so, making Faye Summer laugh and cry at the same time. "Ethan, what are you doing?" After hesitating for a while, Faye Summer decided to ask her son why he wanted to tie up his pet. "Mommy, Mia's puppy has a leash, but Cuddle doesn't." "Mommy, please tie a leash for Cuddle. I want to take Cuddle to play with Mia's puppy." The boy, unhappy that Cuddle wouldn't let him tie the string, pouted and cuddled into his mommy's arms, acting cute. So that's it. This little guy is already trying to flirt at such a young age. Who does he take after? A cold, arrogant figure flashed in her mind, but she shook it off. "Oh right, Mommy, can I ask you something?" The boy suddenly looked serious. And raised his head to speak. Faye Summer, intrigued by her son's demeanor, smiled and said, "Of course, Ethan. You can ask Mommy anything." She was used to her son occasionally coming up with naive questions, but it was rare to see him so serious, which made her a bit curious. Unexpectedly, the boy's next question left her completely stunned. "Mommy, if I marry Mia, can I still be with Lily? Quinn says she likes me, but I also like Jane. But Lily says boys shouldn't like boys, that it's not right. Can I like boys in the future?" Pfft. Marriage. Faye Summer stared incredulously at her son. Was the world turning upside down? 3 years old, for heaven's sake, Ethan was only 3, and yet he had already found himself a bride and wanted both a boy and a girl. Faye Summer felt as if a dark cloud was hovering over her head, and she was struck by lightning, leaving her in shock. "Mama, can you say yes or no?" The little 3-year-old, oblivious to reading facial expressions, continued to pester her for an answer. Ethan, didn't you want to go out and play with Mia? Go on, and Mommy will help you fix Dan. Faye Summer felt her heart racing, as if she were running out of breath. Perhaps, it's time to consider changing his preschool. Ding dang. The sound of the wind chime tinkling at the door announced the arrival of a tall, handsome figure. Upon seeing Faye Summer and her child, his eyes lit up. He strode over, picked up Ethan Summer, and planted 2 kisses on his cheeks. The two laughed and played like father and son. Chapter 7, My Intentions. "Ethan, dear, what did you just say to Mommy? Can you tell Uncle Quinn?" Hunter Quinn is the heir of the Hunter Quinn Corporation. 2 years ago, he met Faye Summer and fell deeply in love with her, disregarding the fact that she was divorced and had a son. For the past 2 years, he has been by her side, protecting her and her son, even though Faye Summer has bluntly rejected him. He doesn't care and continues to do as he pleases, visiting Bliss Coffee whenever he's free to accompany the mother and son. The little boy proudly repeated his words to Hunter Quinn, who was initially taken aback but then burst into laughter, tears streaming down his face. "Ha ha ha. Faye Summer, did you hear that? Ethan. Ethan wants to be, both a man and a woman in the future. Ha ha ha. Such ambition, oh my, I'm laughing to death. Be quiet." Faye Summer shot him a sharp look and gently spoke to her little boy, who was pouting. "Ethan, let's talk about this when you're older. For now, go play with Mia, okay? Mommy and Uncle Quinn have something to discuss." The little boy nodded, half understanding. "Okay, I'll go play with Mia then. Goodbye, Mommy. Goodbye, Uncle Quinn." Watching her son's adorable figure disappear out the door, Faye Summer's lips still held a satisfied smile. Sigh. When will you smile at me like that? I'd give up 10 years of my life for it. Hunter Quinn said bitterly. With just a wave of your hand, the beautiful girls flock to you like bees to honey. Don't be greedy, or you'll cause a public outrage. Faye Summer looked at the handsome Hunter Quinn helplessly. She truly didn't understand why someone with his status, looks, and wealth, essentially perfect conditions, would be interested in her, a divorced woman with a child? She had asked him this question before, and his answer was just a simple sentence. Love inherently lacks logic. Once in love, what can I do? This saying reminded her of her past self. After that, she stopped asking him such questions and treated him as a friend. For the past 2 years, they have been doing well. Those things aren't what I want, you understand. Once again, he didn't hide his feelings, expressing his intentions to her. Hunter. She frowned, calling out in discomfort. Sigh. Once again, Faye Summer, my heart has been shattered by you. How can this woman be so heartless? Hunter Quinn clutched his left chest, lying face down on the table, feigning extreme agony. Shattered, you say? Faye Summer's lips curled into a bitter smile. Perhaps he should see her heart from before, that was truly shattered. In the depths of Hunter Quinn's eyes, a dark glint appeared. He knew Faye Summer's heart had been hurt before. He didn't want to force her, he was waiting for her to gradually accept him. 2 years have passed, and he doesn't mind waiting a few more years. Chapter 8, What a Mess, Truly a Trap. Faye Summer, this time I really have an urgent matter. Tonight, I have to attend a charity gala, and my secretary had a stomachache at noon and is still in the hospital. I don't have a girlfriend to accompany me. This is the reason. So what? Why does it matter to her if he doesn't have a girlfriend with him? I want to invite you to be my girlfriend and accompany me to the charity gala tonight. That's his purpose. And then what? Faye Summer took a sip of her latte, savoring the mild bitterness she loved. Faye Summer. Please help me just this once. This event requires me to bring a girlfriend. If I go alone, those women will surely tear me apart. Before meeting her, he often attended such parties and enjoyed them. Since meeting her, it's the first time he's felt burdened in his heart, worried that seeing those tabloid headlines would upset her. Over the past 2 years, he's rarely attended such events, but this time, his old man forced him to go, leaving him no choice. Why do I feel like this is a great opportunity to meet someone special? Are you really going to pass it up? At a party like this, there are so many beautiful women. Aren't you worried my presence might affect your chance at romance? Faye Summer joked. For her, she couldn't develop feelings for him, friends were how she defined their relationship. If you accept my proposal, I promise never to attend such events again. I'll leave all the romantic opportunities to others. What do you think? Want to reconsider? Not interested. Faye Summer, please, do me a favor. My old man insists I attend this party. If I don't go, I'm doomed. Not in the mood. Faye Summer. As lunchtime approached, the cafe began to fill up, and Faye Summer busily attended to customers, ignoring Hunter Quinn's chatter. Hotel Helvetica is the only 6-star hotel in M City. Today, it hosted a charity gala organized by the Tan family, a jewelry industry tycoon. All invitees had solid backgrounds, and luxury cars lined up at the hotel's entrance. Gazing at the magnificent Hotel Helvetica, Faye Summer regretted for the 35th time trusting Hunter Quinn. A small party, he said, just show up with him for a bit. Oh dear, she'd been tricked. She really wanted to grab that Hunter Quinn and give him a beating. A party held at a hotel like this, and it's considered a small gathering. The reason she absolutely didn't want to come was to avoid meeting acquaintances. The owner here is Molly Weaver's father. If she ran into him and Molly Weaver, how should she face them? Oh my, what a headache. Darling, you look stunning. But could you get out of the car? Everyone's staring at you. Hunter Quinn beamed, knowing Faye Summer was a great beauty. Look at yourself, dressed like this, you truly look gorgeous. Humph. Let them stare if they want, who cares if they die? Faye Summer was tricked by Hunter Quinn into attending this so-called charity party, feeling quite annoyed, her words tinged with irritation. Chapter 9, Whatever Happens, Happens. Faye Summer was the classic example of someone with a tough exterior but a soft heart, especially towards friends. This incident was a prime example. Whatever happens, happens. With a sigh, Faye Summer reluctantly got out of the car, arm in arm with Hunter Quinn, and entered the 6-star hotel. The lights were dazzling, the luxury overwhelming, and the guests all wore designer clothes, adorned with jewelry. In contrast, Faye Summer, dressed simply, appeared somewhat out of place. "Darling, shall I help you put on a necklace?" As they walked in, attracting quite a few glances, Hunter Quinn felt sorry for her and whispered in her ear. Today, Faye Summer wore a long black dress that reached the floor, featuring a perfectly designed backless cut. Her short, ear-length hair was slightly tousled, giving her a lazy yet fashionable and seductive look. The only thing missing was any valuable jewelry on her. Hunter Quinn had prepared a cat's eye necklace for her, but Faye Summer was adamant about not wearing it. She knew that once she wore it, Hunter Quinn would never take it back, and she didn't want to accept such an expensive gift from him. Faye Summer was aware of the mocking glances from others, but she didn't care. However, since she was attending with Hunter Quinn today, she hesitated for a moment and nodded in agreement. "Just so you know, after the party, I'll return this necklace to you. If you don't take it back, then let's not be friends anymore." Hunter Quinn gave a wry smile. She was truly unusual. While other women would hope for the most expensive gifts, she refused anything too pricey and might even turn hostile over it. The party went smoothly. Seeing Hunter Quinn with his girlfriend, the women were envious but wisely kept their distance. However, there's always an exception. Some arrogant rich young women inevitably appeared. Hunter Quinn was called aside by some elders for a conversation, leaving Faye Summer alone. She wanted to rest a bit, but before she could sit down, she heard a sharp, mocking voice. "Oh my, who do we have here? It's the bastard child born to that wench. How dare you attend this party? Tell me, which blind man did you seduce this time?" Claire Bennett sneered as she approached, her face full of contempt as she evaluated Faye Summer, especially when she noticed the expensive cat's eye necklace around her neck, fueling her jealousy even more. How could this wench live so well? She was just the daughter of a home-wrecking vixen and should be living at the bottom of society, enduring humiliation, not showing up at this high-class party to face her. Faye Summer stood frozen. How did she end up here? Instinctively, she took 2 steps back. Claire Bennett was still living abroad and had returned this time to discuss a business deal. Unexpectedly, she encountered the person she least wanted to meet at this charity gala, ####, Chapter 10, Respect. Just from you. Faye Summer, her half-sister. The daughter of that vixen, the woman who stole the happiness that should have belonged to her. Why are you here too? Faye Summer's eyes showed a hint of reluctance. She hadn't expected to meet someone from the Bennett family in this situation. Weren't they all supposed to be abroad? Their unexpected return caught her off guard. No one would believe that Faye Summer, an orphan, was actually the illegitimate child of Benjamin Bennett, the shipping industry tycoon. Yet, it was the truth. The story of her parents was quite melodramatic, a Cinderella falling in love with a rich young master, only for the family to disapprove and force them apart. The rich young master then married someone else, only to meet Cinderella years later and discover she had given him a daughter. The 2 former lovers rekindled their relationship and reunited. Subsequently, the man's wife found out about the affair, and he proposed a divorce, which she refused. In a tragic twist, Cinderella died in a car accident. Heartbroken, the man returned home, but the daughter, the love child, was left behind. The man said seeing her reminded him of his lost love and he didn't want to see her, making her an unwanted burden. She was passed from one place to another before ending up in an orphanage. This is why Faye Summer always insisted she was an orphan, with both parents deceased. Having a father like that was no different from being parentless. Why shouldn't I be here? This man is quite generous, isn't he? This necklace must be worth tens of thousands. I'm curious to see which man has such poor taste that he can stomach someone like you. As Claire Bennett's voice grew louder, more and more people gathered around. Many people present knew Claire Bennett and her background. When they heard her speak, they immediately looked at Faye Summer. The lustful gazes of several men roved over her, seemingly assessing her worth. Please watch your words. Patience has its limits. She wasn't a doll without feelings. A flicker of anger flashed in Faye Summer's eyes. Respect? A lowly woman like you dares to talk about respect with me? You're just like your vixen of a mother, pretending to be virtuous on the outside but being utterly depraved inside. You tie every man in the world to your apron strings. Claire Bennett loathed Faye Summer to the core, and her words were filled with venom. Faye Summer slightly furrowed her brows, a cold glint in her eyes. She simply didn't want to get involved with the Bennett family, but that didn't mean she was afraid of her. If provoked, Claire Bennett shouldn't blame her for letting her taste the consequences of her actions. However, before Faye Summer could speak, an unexpected voice interrupted the exchange. Unfortunately, I am the indiscriminate man Miss Bennett mentioned. Does Miss Bennett have any opinions about my girlfriend? A cold, deep voice resonated, as the tall and imposing figure of Derek Carter emerged from the crowd. He casually wrapped an arm around Faye Summer's waist, coldly staring at a stunned Claire Bennett. Chapter 11, Rage, Nameless Fire. Faye Summer was visibly shocked. She clearly hadn't expected him to appear here, let alone stand up to defend her. But at that moment, she lacked the courage to question him. Both individuals represented wounds in her heart that had scabbed over, reopening them would only lead to a bloody mess. This lowly woman is the girlfriend of CEO Carter. Claire Bennett exclaimed, kindly reminding him, CEO Carter might not know about her chaotic private life. Someone as accomplished as CEO Carter shouldn't be deceived by her. Her private life. What right does Miss Bennett have to comment on my girlfriend's private life? The night before last, the person on Henry Hill's bed wasn't my girlfriend, and the day before that, the one out with William King wasn't her either. What do you say, Miss Bennett? Derek Carter's arm around Faye Summer tightened slightly, his deep pupils suddenly contracting, and his words became sharp and pressing. He hadn't expected to meet her today, the woman who had been his wife for 3 years and had left decisively. 4 years ago, she seemed to suddenly vanish from the world, despite his every effort to find her. Who would have thought that today he would encounter her in such a situation? Seeing her being bullied, he didn't hesitate to step in and help her, feeling both angry that she didn't know how to protect herself and frustrated that she didn't resist. Being mistreated. Derek Carter, you again. Claire Bennett couldn't believe Derek Carter would treat her this way because of that wench Faye Summer, leaving her momentarily speechless. Let's move somewhere else, there are too many mosquitoes here. With a cold glance at Claire Bennett, Derek Carter wrapped his arm around Faye Summer's waist and walked away. Since Derek Carter's appearance, Faye Summer's mind had been in turmoil, filled only with thoughts of him. Why did he appear? Why is he here? What would he think about what he just witnessed? Should she explain to him? Should she? However, all her conflicting emotions vanished in the next moment, turning into self-mockery. Brother Derek, you, Sister Faye, why are you here? Molly Weaver, Derek Carter's girlfriend attending the cocktail party, had just been chatting with friends and now came to find him, only to see a figure she thought would never appear. Unable to hold back, she exclaimed. That same sentence again. A nameless anger rose in Faye Summer's heart. Why shouldn't she be able to appear at such a high-class cocktail party? Was it so strange for her to be here? First Claire Bennett, now Molly Weaver, no matter how good one's temper is, it would be provoked, especially since Faye Summer has never had a good temper. Hee. Miss Weaver, I don't quite understand what you mean. May I boldly ask, why can't I be here? Or is there some rule saying that I, Faye Summer, cannot appear here? Faye Summer smiled gently, but her words carried a hint of pressure. Faye Summer, watch your attitude. Derek Carter frowned slightly, not accustomed to her usually obedient and understanding nature becoming so forceful. #### Chapter 12, Not Your Concern. Watch your attitude. Faye Summer was suddenly amused. Thank you, Mr. Carter, for helping me out earlier, but as for my attitude, there's no need for you to worry about it. I'm a straightforward person, I say what I think, and if my words upset you both, please don't hold it against me. I won't disturb you any longer. With that, Faye Summer turned and left, proud as a queen, her eyes slightly moist. She had imagined their reunion countless times, never expecting it to turn out like this. As she suspected, they were indeed together, but why did it still hurt so much to see it with her own eyes? He remained as lofty as ever, still protecting that woman, Molly Weaver, like a precious pearl in his hand. And she, Faye Summer, was just a Barbie doll in a display case, merely a cheap ornament. It was like that before, and it still is now. Derek Carter watched her turn away without hesitation, frowning, feeling a vague sense of disappointment, an urge to call her back. But in the end, he remained rational and proud. His pride would not allow him to bow to a woman. Just then, Billy Weaver, Molly's father, came looking for him, and he turned away, pushing the impulsive thoughts about Faye Summer to the back of his mind. Standing by the railing, feeling the cool night breeze against her, Faye Summer's emotions gradually calmed. Closing her eyes, images of Derek Carter and Molly Weaver appeared in her mind, the perfect couple. They, truly were a perfect match. She, from beginning to end, was just an outsider, even when they were married, let alone after the divorce. She wasn't even worthy of being an outsider. From start to finish, the only person who cared was herself. Her heart, which seemed numb from pain, suddenly clenched violently. She clutched her chest, feeling a long-forgotten agony. It's been so long, so very long since she felt this way. Faye, why are you here? I've been looking everywhere for you. Hunter Quinn had searched everywhere for her, thinking she might have left in anger or discomfort, worried to the point of sweating. But why were her eyes red, as if she had been crying? Faye, what happened? You. Nothing, I just had a glass of wine and choked a bit. What do you need me for? Are you done with your work? Cutting off his inquiry, Faye Summer shifted the conversation, a hint of coldness flickering in her eyes. Seeing that she seemed unwilling to talk, Hunter Quinn didn't press further. He rubbed his nose and nodded, saying, yeah, almost done. You haven't had dinner yet, so you must be hungry. Let me take you out to eat something. If I let you go hungry, Ethan's army of pets won't spare me. His exaggerated tone and actions made Faye Summer slightly smile. Watching his deliberate theatrics, the shadow in Faye Summer's heart dissipated somewhat. She took his arm and smiled, saying, let's go, my knight. Escort your queen to dinner. She shook her head, dispelling thoughts best left forgotten. ####. Chapter 13, Provocation. Also drunk she, Faye Summer, was not anyone's possession, not anyone's burden. She had her pride, her dignity. She was no longer the woman she was 4 years ago, no longer blindly in love, losing all reason. Her life had started anew 4 years ago. Derek Carter. The man she once loved deeply, gave everything to love, but now she no longer wanted to love. That evening party was just a fleeting moment in life, holding no significance to their lives, at least, that's what Faye Summer thought. However, clearly, someone else thought differently. Several days had passed since that party, and Faye Summer remained the beautiful, intellectual cafe owner, smiling as she welcomed guests who came and went. Yet, her smile froze on her face when someone appeared. Sister Faye Summer, long time no see. You seem to be doing well. Aren't you going to invite me in? Molly Weaver, in 10-inch heels, walked into the cafe like a queen, standing before Faye Summer. Momentarily taken aback, Faye Summer responded with a faint smile, "Long time no see, Miss Weaver, you're looking more radiant than ever. Please have a seat, Miss Weaver. What would you like to drink?" She maintained a polite smile, treating her like any other customer. Molly Weaver elegantly sat on the sofa, smiling, a cup of mandheling, no milk, half a sugar cube, a drop of lemon. "Oh, look at my memory, Sister Faye Summer used to make coffee for me, how could you forget my preferences?" "Sorry to trouble you, Sister Faye Summer." With a faint smile, Faye Summer calmly treated Molly Weaver like any other customer. Upon seeing the victorious smile in her eyes, Faye immediately understood that she had come with another purpose today. "It's okay, just wait a moment." Faye Summer flashed a gentle and generous smile at her, tucked her bangs behind her ear, and turned to make coffee for her. Molly Weaver stared at Faye Summer's back, her eyes flickering with a different emotion. She seemed somewhat changed from 4 years ago. Regardless, she should not think she could take Derek away from her, he was Molly Weaver's man. 4 years ago, she could make the woman who became Derek's wife leave, and 4 years later, she still couldn't take Derek away from her. Becoming Derek's bride had been her only wish since childhood. This sewer rat had no right to compete with her. If her plan hadn't gone awry back then, how could this wretch Faye Summer have married Derek? Today she came to see if Faye Summer still had feelings for Derek. If not, then fine. But if she dared to dream about Derek, she wouldn't hesitate to spend some money to make her disappear. Thinking of this, a malicious glint appeared in Molly Weaver's clear eyes. "Sorry to keep you waiting, here's your mandheling." Faye Summer personally brought the mandheling coffee to Molly Weaver's table. She knew that she wasn't here just for the coffee. As expected, when she placed the coffee down and was about to leave, Molly Weaver called her back. "Sister Faye Summer, I have a few words to say to you, do you have time?" Hesitating for a moment, Faye Summer nodded and generously said, "I can't stay with you too long, the cafe is quite busy, and I won't be able to manage." Faye Summer was served a glass of orange juice and sat down across from Molly Weaver. Looking at Molly Weaver's beautiful and graceful face, Faye Summer felt as if she had lived another life. There was a time when the memory of this face had faded, from past resentment to the calm confrontation now, she couldn't help but acknowledge that time is indeed a remarkable thing. "Faye Summer, where have you been all these years? I've had people looking for you for a long time without any luck." Hearing this, a mocking glint flashed in Faye Summer's eyes. Looking for her? More like hoping she would never show up again. She kept this thought to herself, maintaining a faint smile. "I didn't go anywhere. When you're hurt, you naturally find a place to hide and lick your wounds. Miss Weaver, is there a reason you were looking for me?" she said, half-truthfully. One addressed her as Faye Summer, while the other called her Miss Weaver, an odd way of addressing each other, yet neither thought of changing it. "Your sudden departure worried us a lot. But it's good that you're okay now." "Oh, right, Faye Summer, I wanted to let you know that next month is my birthday, and Derek and I will be getting engaged that day. You must come." Molly Weaver took out a floral invitation card from her bag, her face full of joy with a hint of smugness. Taking the invitation from her, Faye Summer thought she knew why Molly Weaver was here, to assert dominance and declare ownership. But her behavior seemed very childish to Faye. "Congratulations to both of you, but I might not be able to make it. Those places aren't suitable for me." Heartbroken? Perhaps. Yet Faye Summer's face showed no sign of distress as she shrugged and spoke calmly. Engaged? She truly wasn't surprised. Their coming together was something she had anticipated, though she didn't expect it to take 4 years. She thought they would have a quick wedding right after she signed the divorce papers. Heartbroken? Maybe. "Faye Summer, are you blaming me for taking Derek away? You were the one who initiated the divorce, which allowed us to be together. You know that if you hadn't asked for a divorce, Derek wouldn't have left you, even if he didn't love you. Now that you're divorced, I'll take good care of Derek, have children with him, and be by his side forever. But I really want your blessing, Faye Summer. Can you give me that? Tears welled up in Molly Weaver's eyes as she bit her lower lip, her expression gentle and fragile. Despite telling herself not to care about her words, the phrase, even if he didn't love you, still pierced Faye Summer's heart. Chapter 15, Men, anyone who wants them can have them. If something is truly yours, no one can take it away. If it can be taken, it wasn't yours to begin with. Who can predict fate? Miss Weaver, rest assured, when I could give up the position of Mrs. Carter and initiate the divorce, it meant there was nothing left between him and me. Whoever you want to have children with, or grow old with, is none of my concern. We aren't really that close. As for your birthday party, I'm sorry, but I really might not make it. I don't have a wealthy background or fancy attire. Those places aren't suitable for an ordinary person like me. I've already sent my congratulations on finally being together. Please keep the invitation, Miss Weaver. I think we won't have the chance to meet again. This coffee is on me. Watching Molly Weaver grit her teeth in anger while trying to maintain her noble facade, Faye Summer almost couldn't contain her laughter. After enduring so much humiliation from her in the past, she finally got her revenge today. As for that man, she smirked. Any man she had been with was free for others to pick up. She couldn't care less. For years, it wasn't long, yet it wasn't short either. Over 1,000 days and nights were enough for her to forget that mistaken relationship. The last bit of affection she had was severed at the previous party. Now, they were two independent individuals, with no connection whatsoever. General Manager, this shopping center currently has the highest revenue among all our affiliated malls. Below the largest shopping center in M City, several men in neatly pressed suits, carrying briefcases, followed a man with a cold and expressionless demeanor, continuously providing introductions. Dan Dan. Dan Dan. Don't run around, come back here, I'll be angry. A child's voice came from afar, getting closer. A boy, about 4 or 5 years old, wearing a yellow cartoon t-shirt and cool overalls, seemed to be chasing something, stumbling towards Derek Carter and the others. Ouch, that hurts. Ethan Summer was so focused on chasing his little pet that he accidentally fell, his knee hitting the ground hard, scraping the skin. The pain made his small face scrunch up like a bun, tears welling up. Derek Carter didn't know why, but seeing this adorable boy fall, he rushed over without hesitation to pick him up. He took out a silk handkerchief worth thousands from his pocket and gently bandaged the boy's wound. Don't move, Uncle will bandage your wound, it won't hurt any more soon. Derek Carter frowned but spoke gently to comfort the boy he had just met. For some reason, seeing the boy fall and cry made him feel uneasy, prompting him to quickly pick him up and soothe him. The senior managers following Derek Carter, who had worked with him for years, had never seen him like this. They exchanged surprised glances, secretly wondering if this boy could be the CEO's son. But they had never heard of the CEO having a son. Could he be an illegitimate child? Chapter 16, Dan Dan. What is that? Derek Carter had no idea what his subordinates were thinking, his entire focus was on the boy in his arms. As he looked closely at the boy's youthful features, he vaguely felt a sense of familiarity. Thank you, Uncle, you're a good person. Ethan loves Uncle. The pain in Ethan Summers' knee subsided after being bandaged, and he generously pressed his small face against Derek Carter's cheek with a smooch, leaving a wet mark. Derek Carter was taken aback by the unexpected kiss, momentarily unable to react. Ah, Dan Dan, where's my Dan Dan? Dan Dan, come out, Dan Dan. Ethan Summer looked around but couldn't find any trace of Dan Dan, becoming anxious, his little feet running around in a mess, his voice on the verge of tears. Dan Dan. What is that? Derek Carter frowned, pulling the almost crying Ethan Summer back gently, your name is Ethan, right? Is Dan Dan your pet? Where are your parents? Why are you here alone? As he comforted the adorable Ethan Summer, he silently criticized the child's parents for being too irresponsible. How could they let such a young child run around alone in a shopping mall? What if he encountered bad people? For some reason, the thought of this smart, adorable child being cruelly kidnapped by traffickers ignited a flame of anger within him, making him want to find the child's parents and give them a piece of his mind. Yes, my name is Ethan. Dan Dan is my parrot. Mommy didn't let me bring Dan Dan out, but I couldn't bear to leave Dan Dan at home, so I secretly hid him in my backpack. I accidentally lost Dan Dan earlier. Uncle, you're a good person, can you help me find Dan Dan? On a regular day, if someone made such an unreasonable request, Derek Carter would undoubtedly dismiss them without hesitation. However, faced with the soft voice and sparkling eyes of this little boy, the words of refusal turned into something else entirely. All right, I'll help you find Dan Dan, but you must promise not to run around. Your knee is injured, and running will hurt a lot. Derek Carter said as he picked the boy up and gently wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes. The company's senior managers, seeing Derek Carter holding this child of unknown origin, became more convinced that the child was Derek Carter's illegitimate son, and their gazes towards them changed accordingly. Yes, Ethan promises not to run around. Thank you for helping me, Uncle. You're a good person, and I like you, Ethan Summer said, not hesitating to give a sweet kiss. Smooch, he kissed Derek Carter's other cheek, this time even louder than before, with a satisfied smile on his face. A child's mind is very simple. Ethan Summer felt that this uncle was kind to him, so he liked him. Although Ethan was smart, he was still just over 3 years old and couldn't understand much more. In his eyes, this uncle had helped bandage his wound and was helping him find Dan Dan, so he must be a good person. Chapter 17, was that day a mistake? Derek Carter rubbed his cheek where the boy had kissed him, feeling a warm happiness rising within. How long had it been since someone had expressed such pure affection for him? The people surrounding him either liked his money or his family background, or the advantages that came with being associated with him. If one day he lost all that, he would be nothing. He could feel that this child truly liked him, with a purity that touched his heart, making him cherish this smart and adorable child even more. If he and Faye Summer had a child back then, would that child be as grown up as this one? Would their child be as intelligent and lovable, inspiring such affection? Uncle! Uncle! Ethan Summer called out, seeing his uncle staring at him without moving, unsure of what he was thinking. Looking at the innocent face before him, Derek Carter snapped back to reality, a hint of self-mockery in his eyes. Don't be foolish. Their marriage was a mistake from the start. Even if they had a child, nothing would have changed. She didn't love him, and that was an unchangeable truth. Yes, she didn't love him. Even though he realized his feelings for her after she left, and understood that he did have a place for her in his heart, what did it matter? She never loved him, and even the marriage was a torment for her. Ethan, be good. I was just thinking about some things. I'll take you to find Dan Dan. A trace of sadness flickered in Derek Carter's eyes, but he quickly composed himself and smiled at Ethan Summer. The entire shopping mall was Derek Carter's property, so finding something here wasn't difficult. With Ethan Summer telling him the area where Dan Dan was lost, he analyzed the situation briefly and instructed his subordinates to help search. They soon found the little parrot curled up under a bench, Ethan Summer's small pet. Dan Dan. Oh, it's Dan Dan. You helped me find Dan Dan, thank you, Uncle. Haha. Dan Dan, you're naughty, running around like that. Just wait until we get home, I'll punish you for being naughty. Ethan Summer held Dan Dan in his hands, poking its belly with his little fingers, speaking to it in a mix of joy and childish reproach. Derek Carter watched Ethan Summers' adorable face, feeling a familiar sensation rise within him. Ethan, what are your parents' names? Can I help you find them? Do I know the parents of this child? Otherwise, why would I feel that sense of familiarity 2 or 3 times? I genuinely want to help the boy find his parents, but I also want to take the opportunity to learn about their identity. Uncle, are you planning to kidnap me and demand ransom from my mommy? Ethan Summer blinked his big, bright eyes at Derek Carter and continued in a cheeky tone, my mommy doesn't have money, so kidnapping me is useless. Ethan at the kindergarten has a lot of money, and his family's car is really nice. You should kidnap Ethan. My mommy is fierce, and there's Uncle Jake who's very skilled, and Uncle Quinn who likes my mommy and wants to be my daddy. If you kidnap me and make my mommy unhappy, Uncle Quinn will beat you up. You should think carefully. Ethan doesn't want to visit you in the hospital, I don't like the smell of hospitals. Chapter 18, Uncle, I don't have money. Looking at the serious little face of the child, Derek Carter felt a few black lines appear on his forehead. This kid even suggested he kidnap a classmate from kindergarten, and who are these uncles? Do they want to be his father? Could he be from a single-parent family? These complicated relationships confused him. Do I really look like a kidnapper? I'm the CEO of the Carter's Group, the heir to the vast Carter family fortune, and I need to kidnap someone for ransom. If someone else said this to him, he wouldn't let them off easily, but since it was an innocent child, whom he actually liked, he could only suppress his frustration and gently explain, Ethan, I'm not a kidnapper. I just want to know your parents' names to help you find them. With so many people here, how can Ethan find his parents otherwise? Don't you agree? If someone had told Derek Carter before yesterday that he would lower himself to coax a stranger's child calling him a kidnapper, he would have scoffed and walked away, but today, he could only say, life is unpredictable. Are you really not going to kidnap me? My mommy doesn't have money, so you'd be better off kidnapping Ethan. Do you want to try kidnapping Ethan? The child looked Derek Carter up and down with big, round, questioning eyes. What left Derek Carter speechless was that this child was already suggesting he kidnap a classmate from kindergarten. Are kids nowadays really maturing so early? I'm not a kidnapper, Ethan. I'm very wealthy, so I don't need to be a kidnapper. Moreover, kidnapping is illegal, and I won't kidnap you or your classmate. Do you understand? Derek Carter felt he couldn't communicate with this child, who seemed convinced he wanted to kidnap him. The conversation kept revolving around kidnapping, and he could almost hear his rationality crumbling. Ethan, why are you running around on your own? Your mom is going crazy looking for you. Come back with me. Just as Derek Carter was trying to explain to Ethan Summer that he wouldn't kidnap him, and Ethan was nodding as if he understood, a deep male voice filled with relief sounded. The next moment, Derek Carter felt a void in front of him as Ethan Summer fell into the arms of another person. Uncle Quinn. Seeing the newcomer, Ethan Summer sweetly called out. Ethan, what happened to your leg? How did you get hurt? After receiving an urgent call from Faye Summer, Hunter Quinn saw Ethan Summer's knee wrapped with a handkerchief and asked anxiously. Ethan Summer pouted, ready to reply, but Derek Carter's voice came first, he just fell. I happened to see it and helped bandage him. You're the child's family, right? Make sure to take him to the hospital later for antiseptic and medication to prevent infection. Chapter 19, feeling uneasy inside for some reason, seeing Ethan Summer so close to this suddenly appearing man made Derek Carter feel uneasy, like something of his was taken away. He felt frustrated and even his voice carried a hint of coldness. Hello, my last name is Quinn. This child has troubled you, thank you for taking care of him. Hunter Quinn looked at the cold and arrogant man before him, nodded symbolically, and wore a polite smile. No need to be polite, he was very well behaved and didn't trouble me. Derek Carter assessed Hunter Quinn, coldly nodding without any unusual expression. He felt as if he had seen this exceptionally handsome man somewhere before but couldn't recall where. Hunter Quinn had been abroad and only returned to the country 2 years ago, keeping a low profile and rarely appearing in public. Derek Carter also seldom appeared in public. Although their companies had some interactions, they had never met. They were aware of each other's existence but had never encountered one another, leading to this unrecognized meeting today. "Uncle Quinn, I found Dan Dan." "Hee, this uncle helped me find Dan Dan." Ethan Summer, as if presenting a treasure, lifted Dan Dan in his hand to show Hunter Quinn, his young face lighting up with an innocent smile. Yes, our Ethan is the best. But now your mommy is still looking for you everywhere. If you want to avoid water for a month, you can keep playing, I don't mind." Hunter Quinn touched his nose, slyly threatening a child. The little one, hearing about not being able to play with water for a month, immediately panicked. Quickly, Uncle Quinn, take me to find mommy. I don't want to not play with water. Goodbye, kidnapper uncle. Next time, I'll tell you who Ethan is, and if you kidnap Ethan, remember to treat him to KFC. Derek Carter's face was stiff. This child. Alright, it's just a kid after all, let him say whatever he wants. Next time I meet him, I'll tell him to change his words. Even Derek Carter didn't realize how unusual his behavior was today. Normally cold, arrogant, and reticent, he was paying attention to the opinion of a child he was meeting for the first time. Could this be what they call fate? It wasn't until much later that he discovered the relationship between Ethan Summer and himself, suddenly understanding why he had acted so differently with him today. While Ethan Summer was with Derek Carter looking for Dan Dan, Faye Summer was about to go crazy on the second floor of the shopping mall. Hashtag Chapter 20, a sudden change of events. She had planned to wait for Hunter Quinn, and if he didn't find the person, she would call the police for help. Unexpectedly, when Hunter Quinn appeared, he was holding her son, whom she had been desperately searching for. After hearing Hunter Quinn explain the situation, she felt relieved. Seeing her son's injured leg, she quickly carried him to the 5th floor to Hunter Quinn's friend's clubhouse to apply some medicine. Noticing that Ethan Summer's knee was only slightly grazed, Faye Summer and Hunter Quinn felt reassured. Ethan Summer mentioned that the bandage on his wound was from a kind uncle. She casually glanced at the label, realizing the handkerchief was quite valuable. She put it in her bag, planning to buy a similar one later. If she met the person again, she would thank him and return the handkerchief. "Hunter, I really appreciate your help today. If it weren't for you finding Ethan, I wouldn't know what to do," Faye Summer said gratefully to Hunter Quinn. Hunter Quinn, holding a beaming Ethan Summer, smiled and said, "It's nothing. If you really want to thank me, how about attending a few parties with me in the future?" Hee. Hunter Quinn knew she hated such places and teased her intentionally. Hearing this, Faye Summer frowned and decisively said, "No way, at most I'll treat you to free coffee for a week." Last time, she had agreed impulsively and ended up with a lot of trouble. If she agreed again, she'd be a fool. Hunter Quinn shrugged helplessly, disappointed. "That's my only request. If you don't agree, I can't help it. After all, I like you. How about you cook me a meal tonight? I haven't had your cooking in 6 months, and I'm craving it." Anticipating her refusal, he made a second request for her cooking. Faye Summer agreed, as he was one of her few friends. "These clothes look nice. Miss, could you please get me these outfits in my son's size and wrap them up?" In a children's clothing store of a certain brand, Faye Summer held several new boys' outfits and spoke to the sales assistant. "Yes, ma'am. Please wait a moment. We don't have your son's size in the store right now, but we'll get them from the warehouse. Please wait 10 minutes. The staff politely offered Faye Summer a glass of water and invited her to sit and wait patiently. "Alright, no problem. Go ahead with your work, I'm not in a hurry." Appreciating their politeness, Faye Summer smiled gently at the staff and sipped her water elegantly. Wait, where's Ethan? Faye Summer sat for a moment before realizing Ethan Summer had disappeared somewhere. Just as she was about to get up to find the boy, she heard the sound of an argument, faintly recognizing her son's childish voice in it. She frowned, hurriedly stood up, and left the store, seeing a crowd gathered with the argument emanating from its center. Please make way, let me through, thank you. As Faye Summer pushed through the crowd, she saw the scene within and her face darkened. Her eyes flared with anger as she marched towards those arguing in the crowd. ##### Chapter 21, Apologize. No way. Hunter Quinn didn't expect that after just stepping away for a phone call, trouble would arise in mere minutes. Luna Reed, what are you doing? As the esteemed daughter of the Reed family, you're bullying a child. Truly, you bring honor to your family name. Hunter Quinn's face was grim as he looked at the woman in front of him, his eyes filled with disdain. This woman, Luna Reed, was the eldest daughter of the Reed family in M City. She had just returned from studying abroad in England and had met Hunter Quinn at a party 2 years ago. She immediately fell for him and boldly confessed her feelings. However, Hunter Quinn already had Faye Summer in his heart at that time, leaving no room for this spoiled heiress, and he tactfully rejected her on the spot. If it were another woman, being rejected by a man like that, she would likely not have the face to continue pursuing him. But Luna Reed was persistent. The more Hunter Quinn disliked and rejected her, the more she found him manly and clung to him. Every time she returned to the country, she sought ways to be around him, which greatly annoyed Hunter Quinn, though he couldn't do much about it and only grew more averse to her. Hunter, what a coincidence. Are you here shopping too? Why didn't you call me so I could join you? As soon as Luna Reed saw Hunter Quinn, her fierce expression instantly transformed into a radiant smile, almost clinging to him. Hunter Quinn avoided her with a look of disgust and moved to Ethan Summer's side, taking out a handkerchief to wipe the tears from the boy's face. Inside, he was filled with anger. He knew Faye Summer loved her precious son dearly, and he had spent years earning her trust. Although she hadn't agreed to anything with him yet, among all her suitors over the years, he was the only one allowed to be by her side, albeit as a friend, which showed he was different. Who would have thought that in the few minutes he stepped away to take a phone call, this annoying woman would appear? His anger simmering inside, Hunter Quinn's tone naturally wasn't pleasant. I wouldn't dare trouble Miss Reed. Ethan, tell Uncle what's going on. Why are you crying? Did someone bully you? The first part was directed at Luna Reed, while the latter was addressed to Ethan Summer, with the contrast as stark as the North and South Poles, the former cold and sarcastic, the latter full of concern. Hearing Hunter Quinn speak like that, Luna Reed's expression turned sour, regret filling her insides. Today, she had taken her 8-year-old cousin to buy a gift. While wandering in the mall, a pesky little boy appeared out of nowhere and dirted her shoes. Already disliking children, she immediately shoved the boy and scolded him. Her cousin, a little tyrant at home, saw the person about to buy him a gift get angry and rushed over to push 4-year-old Ethan Summer to the ground, kicking him several times and mimicking Luna Reed's insults. Hitting and scolding people aside, young Ethan Summer, with nothing else to do but clutch his stomach and cry on the ground, was still not enough for Luna Reed's little tyrant of a nephew. He insisted that Ethan Summer kneel and bark like a dog. Ethan, who had never been bullied like this, was stubborn and refused to comply, resulting in him getting hit a few more times. Angry and in pain, Ethan seized a moment when the little tyrant wasn't paying attention and bit his hand hard. The tyrant screamed in agony, but Ethan refused to let go. Luna Reed, seeing this brat dare to bite her nephew, raised her hand to hit Ethan. Her force was unpredictable, and those around thought the child would be punished. But just then, Hunter Quinn returned from a phone call and caught Luna's hand mid-air, preventing it from landing. It's all a misunderstanding, just a misunderstanding. We're all family here. Little guy, how about I take you to get some ice cream? Luna Reed shamelessly crouched down to speak to Ethan Summer. She had no idea that this brat was acquainted with Hunter Quinn, who seemed to care deeply for him. The scene witnessed by Hunter surely worsened his impression of her. Now she was only thinking about how to improve her image in Hunter Quinn's eyes, unaware that seeing the footprints on Ethan's clothes made Hunter wish he could slap her. "Uncle Quinn, Ethan hurts, my stomach, my hands, my legs, everything hurts, boo-hoo." Ethan, who had never been bullied like this, burst into tears upon seeing his familiar Uncle Quinn, lifting his shirt to show his injuries. Hunter Quinn's anger flared instantly. Ethan's round belly was bruised in several places, and the footprints on his clothes made it clear he had been kicked. Hunter's face darkened, as if a storm was brewing. The child he and Faye Summer cherished was beaten and kicked, leaving him covered in injuries. How could this happen? Fortunately, Faye Summer wasn't there. If she saw this, she would surely confront Luna Reed. Even Hunter himself felt an urge to lash out. "Boo-hoo. Auntie, look at this bastard biting me, it hurts so much, hit him hard, kill this bastard." Luna Reed's nephew, unlike her, had no reservations about Hunter Quinn. At home or school, he was a little tyrant, afraid of nothing. After being bitten by Ethan, he immediately demanded Luna Reed stand up for him, calling Ethan names and expressing a desire to have him beaten, speaking in a truly detestable manner. "Xiao Xian." Luna Reed quickly called, covering her nephew's mouth. "Miss, this illegitimate child bit my hand so hard, I don't care, you have to beat him to death for me, beat this illegitimate child to death." Little Hien pouted and extended his hand in front of Luna Reed, revealing 2 rows of teeth marks on his small arm, arrogantly pointing at Ethan Summer and shouting. Hunter Quinn coldly looked at Luna Reed, his niece, his pupils suddenly contracted, and his eyes flashed with a cold light. "Luna Reed, I will discuss today's matter clearly with Director Reed." Hunter Quinn glanced at Luna Reed and said coldly. Upon hearing this tone, Luna Reed's spoiled nature flared up, and she snorted, "Fine, talk if you want. I'm not going to waste my breath on you. Find whoever you want, little Hien, let's go. I'll buy you ice cream. Don't bother with that lowly breed, it lowers your status." She didn't forget to glare fiercely at Ethan Summer, as if everything was his fault. "Luna Reed, don't go too far, apologize to Ethan now." Hunter Quinn was angered by her words, "lowly breed," his eyes narrowing dangerously. Luna Reed also became angry, revealing her sharp and haughty demeanor. "Ha, how ridiculous. You want me to apologize to this lowly breed? Hunter Quinn, don't think just because I like you, you can overestimate yourself. You want me to apologize to this lowly breed, huh?" Chapter 22, Do No Harm Unless Harmed. You should be thankful I don't hit women. Hunter Quinn's eyes blazed with intensity, his voice carrying a chilling edge. As a young master of the Quinn family, Hunter had been raised with elite education and gentlemanly manners. He could use other means to pressure the Reed family and force Luna Reed to apologize, but publicly laying hands on a woman was something he found difficult. Luna Reed was confident that Hunter wouldn't dare touch her, which made her even more arrogant. She truly liked Hunter, but the thought of apologizing to a mere child in front of so many people was something she would never agree to. Seeing Hunter defend this child, she even suspected the child might be Hunter's illegitimate son. To Luna, Hunter was her man, and now he was boldly appearing with a child in front of her. Blinded by anger, she paid no attention to anything else and began hurling insults at Hunter Quinn and Ethan Summer. "Hunter Quinn, if you have the guts, try laying a finger on me. Don't think I don't know why you're protecting this little brat. Isn't it because he's the illegitimate child you had with some wild woman? Let me tell you, I won't let any vixen take my man. Once I find out who she is, I'll... What can you do to me?" Luna's tirade was abruptly cut off by a cold female voice. Faye Summer never expected that her precious son would be insulted like this. Seeing the tears on his face, her heart ached as if pierced by a knife. "Mommy!" Ethan Summer cried out, seeking comfort in her embrace. Faye held her son tightly, her heart filled with pain and anger, her eyes reddened with emotion. "Be strong, Ethan. You're a brave little man, don't cry." They bullied Ethan and even scolded him, "They're bad people." Ethan Summer sniffled a few times, pointing at Luna Reed and her nephew, pouting as he complained to his mom. Faye Summer gently wiped the tears from Ethan Summer's face and softly said to him, "No one can bully Mommy's precious, be good, Ethan. May I know your name?" After comforting Ethan Summer, she suddenly turned her head, her eyes fixed on Luna Reed, wearing a faint smile, and asked very politely. The moment Faye Summer appeared, Hunter Quinn felt as if the world suddenly darkened. He sensed that her gaze was filled with hostility towards him, and he could almost predict his impending doom, which would surely be dire. His palms began to sweat. Just when he thought Faye Summer would explode in anger, she did the complete opposite, smiling gently and graciously, politely greeting the person who had just insulted her son. "This." He quietly stepped forward to hold Ethan Summer in his arms like a protective charm, to avoid getting caught in the crossfire later. "May I know your name?" Faye Summer repeated her earlier question. Then, she glanced at Hunter Quinn, her eyes clearly signaling to him that she would deal with him later. Luna Reed arrogantly glanced at Faye Summer, disdainfully saying, "Who do you think you are? Why should I answer you? This woman is the mother of that illegitimate child, isn't she the woman Hunter Quinn keeps outside?" Luna Reed is naturally jealous and can't stand seeing others better or more talented than herself. If Faye Summer were ugly, it would be fine, but she is an intellectual beauty. From the first glance, Luna decided she had to dislike her. "I am Faye Summer, Ethan is my son. I don't know how my son offended you to the point where you would beat and humiliate an innocent child. Speak plainly, if it's my son's fault, I will not defend him and will make him apologize to you. In other words, if my son is not at fault, and it is you who heartlessly bullied him, then don't blame me for retaliating." In Faye Summer's eyes flashed a cold light. Her principle is, if people don't offend me, I won't offend them. She doesn't like causing trouble, but that doesn't mean she's afraid of it. She's never been one to shy away from conflict. "Of course, it's your son's fault. He ran around like a ghost and dirted my shoes. These shoes are a limited edition from LV, encrusted with diamonds, worth over 400,000. Can a poor person like you afford to compensate? Hitting him a few times is already lenient, hitting him a few times saves you from losing over 400,000. A poor person like you should be grateful. If you can't afford to pay, keep your illegitimate child in check, or buy a cage to lock him up. Don't people say that poor children are raised like dogs? Just consider raising your son like a dog because, for someone like you, a son and a dog are no different." Luna Reed sneered, looking down her nose at Faye Summer, her voice shrill. Faye Summer narrowed her eyes, a sharp light flashed and disappeared. "Over 400,000. Those shoes are really expensive." Faye Summer carefully assessed the shoes on Luna Reed's feet, her eyes slightly raised, revealing a sharp glint. "Of course, they are. Have you considered your own status?" "Humph, I am Luna Reed, the heiress of the Reeds Corporation." "Do you know the Reeds Corporation? The money I spend on a random outfit is enough for you to live on for months. Be careful, one word from me could leave you and your illegitimate child homeless. If you bring your illegitimate child to kneel and apologize to me now, maybe I'll be generous and forgive you." After speaking, Luna Reed raised her head, with a queen-like demeanor, confidently waiting for Faye Summer to bring her illegitimate child to kneel and apologize to her. She wanted Hunter Quinn to see the character of the woman he cared about, to show him that only she, Luna Reed, was worthy of him. Luna Reed's words were nearly an insult to everyone around, but these people were just ordinary citizens. How could they dare confront the heiress of the Reeds Corporation? They were angry but didn't dare to speak out, though their eyes showed more sympathy for Faye Summer and her son. Hunter Quinn, hearing this, quietly took 2 steps back while holding Ethan Summer, internally cursing Luna Reed for being foolish enough to say anything without thinking. It's as if she doesn't know how to avoid trouble. He decided it was best to keep his distance to avoid getting involved. With that thought, he moved 2 steps to the side. So, it's Miss Reed from the Reed Corporation, quite impressive. Now, Miss Reed, if you take that child next to you and apologize to my son, I'll let bygones be bygones. What do you say? Faye Summer exclaimed with feigned surprise, "Oh, it's Miss Reed," before her tone shifted to one of mockery as she looked at Luna Reed. The surrounding crowd was momentarily taken aback, everyone looking at Faye Summer in astonishment. Did she realize what she was saying? That was Miss Reed from the Reed Corporation, one of the largest corporations in M City. How could she dare to speak like that? Could it be that she had some other backing? With this thought, the crowd perked up, eyes wide, eager to watch the drama unfold. Even Hunter Quinn was stunned, unsure of what Faye Summer intended to do. Hashtag Chapter 23, Bullying My Son, Prepare for a Fight. Did I hear wrong? Is this woman out of her mind? Want me to apologize to you? You must be dreaming. You should take a good look at yourself, it's disgusting. Luna Reed sneered, rolling her eyes in disdain. Yes, she's a fool, Auntie, she's a fool, haha. Luna Reed's chubby nephew clapped his hands gleefully, laughing continuously beside her. Ethan Summer, seeing the person who hit him daring to insult his mom, pouted and angrily pointed at Luna Reed's nephew, saying, "You're the fool, your whole family is fools. Don't insult my mommy, or I'll have Dan bite you." After thinking for a while, he came up with the fiercest threat he could. "Who are you calling a fool? This unruly child, get away from me. I don't know which shameless woman gave birth to this wretched child, no wonder he's an unwanted brat. You dare to hit me?" Luna Reed was in the middle of scolding Ethan Summer when suddenly she felt a sharp slap on her face, burning with pain. Faye Summer still wore a faint smile, casually touching her right fingernail, as if she wasn't the one who had just struck someone. "Miss Reed, it's been a while since you've had a facial, hasn't it? I suggest you visit a beauty salon for a skin treatment." She suddenly spoke up, but everyone was confused by her words, though her next statement clarified it for them. She seemed to be talking to herself, "Such thick skin, it even scratched my newly done nails." Hearing this, Luna Reed's expression changed, her shrill voice echoed as if competing with someone else, "You vile woman, you dare hit me, I won't spare you and that bastard child, ah!" Slap. The slap resounded loudly. Slap slap slap. A series of slaps echoed continuously, each one as loud as firecrackers during New Year. After Faye Summer finished this round of slaps, Luna Reed's face truly looked like a swollen bun. Her face was red and swollen, with blood dripping from her nose, looking truly pitiful. "You dare hit me, I won't forgive you." Luna Reed glared at Faye Summer, uttering words no one could understand. Faye Summer casually glanced at her, "You insulted my son 10 times, I rewarded you with 10 slaps, very fair." She spoke calmly, and those around felt their faces burning, as if they were implicated, but no one dared to underestimate this intellectual and feminine woman anymore. Her slap was truly shocking. "I know you're not willing, but rest assured, this is just a bit of interest. Whoever bullies my son, I will bully their entire family. This is something I said long ago, and it still holds true now." Faye Summer suddenly declared boldly. Casting a cold glance at Luna Reed, extending her left hand towards Hunter Quinn, "Check." Hunter Quinn hurriedly set Ethan Summer down, wrote a check for $500,000 and obediently handed it to her. Faye Summer casually glanced at the amount, then directly tucked the check into the V-neck of Luna Reed's blouse, speaking coldly, "Here's $500,000, enough for you to buy a new pair of shoes. Now, the owner of these shoes is me. Will you take them off yourself, or do you want me to help?" Luna Reed was truly frightened, stepping back 2 steps as if she had seen a ghost, her eyes filled with intense fear as she looked at Faye Summer. "Looks like I should help you then." Faye Summer stepped forward and suddenly kicked Luna Reed's knee hard, making her cry out and collapse to the ground, clutching her knee and crying out in pain. Faye Summer stepped forward and gently kicked at the heel of Luna Reed's shoe, causing it to easily fall to the ground. Then Faye Summer skillfully kicked the shoe with both feet, sending it flying beautifully into a nearby trash bin, doing the same with the other shoe. In an instant, Luna Reed's limited edition LV shoes, said to be worth over $400,000 a pair, were neatly sitting in the trash bin. Miss Luna Reed, who was recently so proud, fierce, and beautiful, now lay sprawled on the floor, hugging her knees and crying bitterly. Her face was swollen like a fermented bun, looking truly pitiful. Her nephew stood beside her, flustered and frightened. "Remember, my name is Faye Summer. This is Interest, Reed Corporation, it's either me or them." Leaving that cold statement behind, Faye Summer turned gracefully and left with Ethan Summer. Hunter Quinn hesitated for a moment, but his conscience prevailed, and he called 911 before leaving. Luna Reed watched their retreating figures, her eyes filled with hatred. "Faye Summer, I will remember you. The humiliation today, I will make sure you pay back tenfold. I won't let you go, just wait." Leaving the shopping center, Faye Summer's face remained dark. She didn't spare Hunter Quinn a glance, raised her hand to hail a taxi, and returned to the cafe, completely ignoring Hunter Quinn. "Ethan, go get Dan out first, don't let it suffocate." Back at the cafe, Faye Summer casually found an excuse to send Ethan Summer away, then took out her phone and dialed a number she knew by heart. Ring, ring. The phone rang twice before being answered. After connecting the phone, Faye Summer wasted no words and directly asked the person on the other end, "How long will it take to wipe out the Reeds Corporation in M-City?" "Half a month." "Can you tell me why?" "I'm very curious about what could make someone as calm as you so angry," the voice on the other end replied without hesitation, with a hint of curiosity. Faye Summer recounted the events of the day, not hiding even the 10 slaps she had given, telling everything to the person on the other end. There was a moment of silence before a voice filled with anger responded, "Within a week, the Reeds Corporation will declare bankruptcy. How dare they bully little Ethan, they must have a death wish." "Thank you." Faye Summer's voice softened slightly, but remained indifferent, seemingly uninterested in why the person on the other end had suddenly halved the time. After hanging up, Faye Summer sat in the cafe and asked Daisy Yates at the counter to make her a cup of coffee. Daisy Yates, a 20-year-old cafe employee, had been working there for over a year, the longest-serving staff member. They had a good relationship, almost like family. However, Daisy often showed a maturity beyond her years. Faye Summer could tell she had a past but never asked about it, they simply enjoyed each other's company as friends. "Mommy, I've put Dan away, but it hurts." Ethan Summer pouted as he approached, lifting his shirt to reveal bruises on his small stomach and arms. Seeing the injuries on Ethan Summer, Faye Summer's eyes darkened, and she clenched her fists, her rationality slowly crumbling. Chapter 24, Does She Still Love Him? "Oh my, why does Ethan have so many bruises? Does it hurt? Come here, let me put some ointment on." Daisy Yates, who was just bringing coffee to Faye Summer, almost spilled it when she saw the bruises on Ethan. Filled with concern, she quickly carried Ethan to the back room behind the bar and took out a first aid kit to tend to his wounds. Be gentle, Ethan is in pain." The bruises on his body needed firm massaging to heal, but as soon as Daisy Yates applied pressure, Ethan Summer cried out continuously. Daisy felt deeply distressed, her tears almost falling. "Ethan is a brave little man, and brave men aren't afraid of pain. Just now, I heard Mia say she prepared a gift for you. Do you want to know what it is?" Daisy Yates tried to divert Ethan Summer's attention while continuing to apply the medicine. "Wow, is Mia going to give me a gift? Should I give her something in return?" Auntie, what do you think I should give Mia? A talking doll or a strawberry cake? Ethan has never given me a gift, I'm so sad. Then Ethan will give you a gift too. What would you like? A little bear handkerchief? Or do you prefer a butterfly hair clip? Hee, don't worry, Ethan isn't in pain. Ethan is a brave little man, not afraid of pain. Hearing her son's innocent voice, Faye Summer's expression grew even darker and more frightening. Luna Reed, Reed's Corporation, just wait, I'll make you regret your actions today. Not long after, Hunter Quinn appeared at the cafe. Hello. He greeted Faye Summer from across the table, but she completely ignored him as if he were invisible. Faye, I'm sorry. Hunter Quinn's expression was awkward. This situation was all his fault, and it dragged the innocent Ethan into it, so it was understandable why Faye was so angry. In 3 months, Ethan will be 3 years old. It's been 4 years, and if it weren't for Ethan back then, Faye Summer might not exist in this world anymore. Ethan is my everything, more important than my own life, do you understand? Faye Summer could endure everything, could ignore anything, except for her precious son, Ethan Summer. Once, she loved Derek Carter more than anything, but that love eventually left her deeply wounded. Even now, thinking about that man still made her heart ache. Now she has Ethan, and only Ethan. Faye, this is all my fault. Don't worry, I will definitely give you and Ethan an explanation. Hunter Quinn, full of remorse, was pained by the bitterness in her eyes. He knew that Faye Summer's heart had been hurt before, making her sensitive and distrustful of love now. But he wasn't afraid, he could wait, he could gradually win her over. He had persisted for 3 years and didn't mind waiting another 3. Hunter, I understand your feelings. I'm sorry, I can't make any promises to you. Faye paused, looking at Ethan playing nearby, her eyes instantly softening. You're a good man, you deserve someone better. I'm not right for you. They were like 2 parallel lines, able to stand side by side, able to comfort each other, but unable to intersect. Friends, that was the most suitable relationship for them. Seeing the indifferent unfamiliarity in her expression, Hunter Quinn felt something slipping away from him, and a sudden panic arose in his heart. Whether we're suitable or not, I know myself. I've pursued you for 3 years, and you've said the same thing for 3 years, Faye Summer. Why do you sound like an old nag? Aren't you tired of repeating yourself? I'm talking about the Reed family now, don't change the subject. I've chased you for 3 years, what's another 3? Nothing can buy my willingness. This seemingly nonchalant complaint couldn't help but evoke feelings of sadness and emotion. Faye Summer was human, not a deity. She too had human emotions, but she had been deeply hurt and had closed off her heart. However, this didn't mean she could completely ignore the 3 good years with Hunter Quinn. I've met him already. Perhaps this was the best reason for him to give up. She and Derek were about to get engaged. Even if Derek didn't love her. Molly Weaver's words suddenly echoed in her ears, and Faye Summer closed her eyes, her heart full of bitterness. AI. Hunter Quinn instinctively sensed a surge of danger approaching. The man I once loved, Ethan's father. Though she didn't want to bring it up, Faye Summer endured the pain in her heart to say this, hoping to end Hunter Quinn's hopes. Hunter Quinn's pupils suddenly contracted, his eyes flashing with complexity as he looked deeply at her. After a long silence, he slowly spoke, his voice tinged with bitterness and tension. Do you still love him? If they were in love, perhaps he would endure the pain and wish them well, if not, a glimmer of hope arose in his heart. Did she still love Derek Carter? Faye Summer asked herself this, but her heart, filled with pain and bitterness, couldn't provide any answer. Love? Perhaps there once was. Now, it's probably just something she can't let go of. That man was never meant for her, and she was never meant for him, something she realized 4 years ago, right? Otherwise, why would she have chosen to leave 4 years ago? After waiting for half a day without a response from Faye Summer, a flicker of joy appeared in Hunter Quinn's eyes. Perhaps she once loved that man, but now she no longer did, otherwise, why would she remain silent for so long? Faye Summer, have you stopped loving him? The last 4 words were interrupted by someone arriving like a whirlwind. Seeing the extraordinarily handsome face before her, Faye Summer suddenly felt as if she had lived a whole lifetime. Once, she loved the owner of this face more than anything. 4 years later, after much struggle, she finally managed to let go of that obsessive infatuation, only for this man to appear before her again. Technically speaking, this seemed like the first time he actively sought her out. Except, for that one time. A sudden sense of sorrow welled up in Faye Summer's heart, for the past, and for herself. Why, are you here? Faye Summer's voice trembled slightly. To be honest, Derek Carter's appearance truly surprised her. Did Molly contact you? The surprise in her eyes didn't escape Derek Carter's notice. Was she really so shocked to see him? For some reason, it made him feel uneasy. Faye Summer was taken aback. Molly Weaver. What exactly did you do to Molly? I've told you many times, she's the sister I care for, so why do you keep causing her trouble, over and over again? It was like this before, and it's still like this now. Faye Summer, can't you grow up a little? Molly had locked herself in her room without eating or talking since coming home yesterday, and he only learned about this through a call from Aunt Weaver, realizing it was related to Faye Summer. She hasn't grown up. Listening to Derek Carter's barrage of criticism, Faye Summer was stunned, then started to laugh. Mr. Carter, if I remember correctly, we ended our relationship 4 years ago. On what grounds, in what position, are you saying these things to me now? Whether Miss Molly Weaver is your sister or your fiancé, what does it have to do with me? If Faye Summer had held any hope for Derek Carter's sudden appearance before, she was now completely disappointed. Chapter 25, Do not allow her to touch him. Indeed, the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. Faye Summer's eyes were tinged with a coldness, mocking her own wishful thinking and self-righteousness. Seeing the glimmer of tears in Faye Summer's eyes, Derek Carter's heart suddenly ached, reminiscent of 4 years ago when he returned home to an empty house and found the signed divorce papers on the table. This feeling, as if a piece of his heart was missing, was something he experienced for the second time. If there's nothing else, I have to attend to my guest. Mr. Carter, please feel free to leave, Faye Summer said with a hint of revenge in her voice, wrapping her arm around Hunter Quinn's and smiling gracefully at Derek Carter. Who are you? Derek Carter's deep eyes narrowed, his gaze as sharp as a knife falling on Hunter Quinn, whom Faye Summer was holding. The sight of her holding another man's arm was an eyesore to him, igniting a fire of anger inside, and he felt an impulse to tear that man apart. From their conversation, Hunter Quinn had a rough idea of this man's identity. A glimmer of light flashed in his eyes, and a smile appeared on his handsome face. He wrapped his arm around Faye Summer's waist and said with a smile, "Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Hunter Quinn, Faye Summer's boyfriend. Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Chu, I look forward to your guidance." Hunter. Faye Summer looked up at Hunter Quinn, gratitude in her eyes. Faye Summer, are you tired? Let me take you home to rest. I'll make porridge for you tonight. He gently brushed his straight nose against hers, his eyes full of tender affection as he smiled at her. Faye Summer nodded and softly agreed. Boom. With a powerful punch, Hunter Quinn staggered back 2 steps. Derek Carter, you're crazy. Hunter, are you okay? Faye Summer glared angrily at Derek Carter, quickly turning to check on Hunter Quinn's condition. Derek Carter clenched the fist he had just swung, his mind in turmoil. What had he just done? She dared to glare at him. Derek Carter frowned. Was this woman becoming more audacious? She never used to be like this. She used to be gentle and obedient, he had never seen her in any other way. She was like a delicate crystal doll, always so gentle. In the past, her eyes only saw him, and he was her sole concern. But now, seeing her hold another man's hand, her face full of worry, inexplicably made him uncomfortable. "Don't touch him." His actions and thoughts were almost in sync. Derek Carter rushed forward, grabbing Faye Summer's slender wrist, his deep eyes filled with anger. Faye Summer fiercely glared at him, a hint of doubt flashing in her eyes, before she forcefully shook off his hand, her lips curling into a distant, cold smile. "Mr. Carter, aren't you overstepping? Who I choose to touch is my freedom. Do I need to report it to you? We'll be heading to the hospital for an injury assessment soon. If anything happens to Hunter, I will definitely sue you for intentional harm." Clearly not in love, yet pretending to be deeply affectionate, sometimes Faye Summer truly couldn't understand what Derek Carter was thinking. "Molly is still in the hospital because of you, and yet you have the mood to flirt with others here. Faye Summer, are you that desperate for men? How did I not realize you had the makings of a slut before?" Provoked by Faye Summer, Derek Carter lost all rationality, not even knowing why he uttered such venomous words. Slap. "It's not your place to worry about what kind of person I am. Even if I'm a lowly woman, that scoundrel isn't you. Mr. Carter, don't behave like a mad dog barking nonsense and ruining the view." Faye Summer, tears brimming in her eyes, bit her lip and coldly mocked Derek Carter with each word. "I." Faye Summer's slap brought Derek Carter back to his senses. Seeing the tears and endurance in her eyes, his heart suddenly ached. He wanted to explain but didn't know how to start. "Derek Carter, don't go too far." Hunter Quinn clenched his fists, his eyes full of anger as he shouted at Derek Carter. Derek Carter frowned, pulling Faye Summer away from Hunter Quinn and forcefully into his chest. "You've had the same habit since childhood, picking up what I discard. Hunter Quinn, don't test my patience. Not everyone can have what belongs to me." They knew each other. Faye Summer's entire body trembled, her emotions in her eyes incredibly complex. "Faye Summer is not like your other women. I won't allow you to insult her this way." In terms of aura, Hunter Quinn's gentle demeanor was completely overshadowed by Derek Carter's cold dominance. "She's just a woman, what's the difference?" Feeling the woman's body in his arms stiffen, Derek Carter frowned, his words sharp as a knife, causing pain. So, in his heart, she was no different from those other women. Faye Summer lowered her head, a hint of bitterness in her eyes. She thought that after 3 years of marriage, she would hold a special place in his heart. It seemed she was just being sentimental, overthinking things. If possible, she would rather never have met him. Without love, there is no pain, without pain, there is no suffering. Enough. Derek Carter, how long do you intend to keep hurting her? Years ago, you married her because of that woman, yet you never treated her well, letting her endure so much suffering. Now that she can start a new life, why won't you let her go? Because of you and that selfish woman, 2 lives have been lost. Isn't that enough? The woman he loves being humiliated like this, Hunter Quinn, besides being furious, also revealed a long-hidden secret. But he didn't know what his words meant to Faye Summer. "What did you say?" Faye Summer's face turned as white as a sheet, her whole body trembling as she looked up blankly at Hunter Quinn, as if she were in a daze. "Faye, listen to me." Seeing Faye Summer's pale face, Derek Carter felt as if something had pierced his heart. He frowned, wanting to explain, but Faye Summer didn't give him the chance. "What do you mean by 2 lives?" Faye Summer asked in a trembling voice, her eyes filled with pain as she looked at Derek Carter. Only she knew how deeply wounded she was beneath her strong exterior. 2 lives, could it really be as she thought? If possible, she truly hoped she was overthinking, at least she could still deceive herself. But now, that dream seemed to vanish. Fate was truly unkind to her, forcing her to witness her bloody scar being exposed, which was too cruel. "Faye, Don't overthink it, I can explain. Perhaps the despair in Faye Summer's eyes pained Derek Carter, and he grabbed her shoulders, wanting her to listen to him. Faye Summer stared directly at Derek Carter's face, and after several seconds, she slowly looked away, her eyes full of sarcasm and self-mockery. Hunter, can you tell me everything you know? Thank you. A simple thank you, yet it carried so much hurt. Faye Summer, Hunter, I just want to know what you know, I don't want to hear anything else right now, okay? Faye Summer could see the regret and guilt in Hunter Quinn's eyes, but to her, it no longer mattered. Chapter 26, to her, it's just exploitation. A bloody past, betrayal by friends, yet Faye Summer can still maintain such calmness at this moment, it's truly difficult. Hearing this, the regret in Hunter Quinn's eyes deepened. If he could do it over, he definitely wouldn't have impulsively revealed this matter. He truly loved Faye Summer, which is why he chose to conceal it, but he didn't realize how important it was to her. Derek Carter and Molly Weaver were childhood sweethearts. They officially started dating in their sophomore year of college. By the time they met you, they had been together for nearly 8 years. Teen-gu was a girl who fiercely pursued her individuality, with a passion for music that exceeded all imagination. To chase her dreams, she chose to study abroad before graduating from college. He loved her deeply and didn't stop her from pursuing her dreams. But every time he faced his family's urging to marry, he felt powerless. That time, she returned home, he proposed to her, but Teen-gu refused. She believed her career was at its peak, and giving it up would render all her previous efforts in vain. She also said he didn't love her enough, and she didn't want to be with a selfish man who didn't love her. Faye Summer quietly glanced at Derek Carter. Surprised that he was such a devoted man. Isn't it ridiculous? What does this have to do with what I want to know? To let her know he was actually a devoted man, to make her even more heartbroken. A hint of sarcasm flashed in Faye Summer's eyes. The coldness in Faye Summer's eyes startled Hunter Quinn, and a look of regret appeared on his handsome face. After that argument, Teen-gu drove away and accidentally hit an elderly woman and her grandchild coming out of an alley. Derek Carter loved Teen-gu so much that he helped her cover it up. As for you, I think it's because you insisted on investigating the truth of the car accident that Derek Carter had no choice but to act this way. After all, both the Carter family and the Weaver family are prominent families that can't withstand such a scandal. Teen-gu might ruin her future because of this accident. So, sacrificing me, a clueless passerby who doesn't know her limits, was the best choice, right? Although she had guessed the truth would be brutal, actually knowing it caused her such heartache that she nearly fainted. Turning away, looking at Derek Carter's pale face, Faye Summer carried a hint of self-mockery that even she didn't notice. Is this the reason you married me before, Derek Carter? Once again, Faye Summer experienced the feeling of being struck by lightning. She always thought Derek Carter simply did not love her, just that he didn't love her. She never considered that there might be more behind this lack of affection. He was the rightful heir to the Carter's conglomerate, so why would he marry an orphan like her with nothing to offer? She had always avoided thinking about this issue, dismissing the possibility that it truly existed. Now, with the truth laid bare before her, the pain felt like it was tearing her heart apart, leaving her nearly breathless. Closing her eyes, she recalled the kind face of the orphanage director and the innocent, pure face of little Veen. The two of them were so kind, so lovable. Yet, fate wasn't kind to them, a sudden car accident claimed their lives, and the perpetrator was never found. The police concluded it was an accident, paid a compensation for the funeral, and closed the case. Not long after their tragedy, she married Derek Carter and chose not to pursue the matter further. Thinking back now, if she hadn't agreed to marry Derek Carter at that time and continued to investigate, would the outcome have been different? Facing her clear eyes filled with countless wounds, Derek Carter found himself at a loss for words. Frowning, a strange light flickered in Derek Carter's deep eyes, disappearing without a trace before anyone could notice. Hunter, when did you find out about my relationship with Derek Carter? Faye Summer's complex gaze fell on Hunter Quinn, a bitter smile on her lips. She thought they were friends, only to realize she was just a pawn in someone else's game. From their conversation, it wasn't hard to discern their relationship. It truly left her feeling cold-hearted. Faye Summer, don't misunderstand, my pursuit of you has nothing to do with Derek Carter. I genuinely love you. Hunter Quinn hurriedly explained, seeing the disappointment and hurt in her eyes, but she cut him off. Derek Carter, is this true? Did you marry me back then to stop me from investigating the truth behind the car accident? I was so foolish to think you had feelings for me. No wonder you never saw me as your wife. Surely, in your heart, I'm just a fool being toyed with, unaware. Faye Summer clenched her hands tightly, her nails digging into her skin, yet she felt no pain. Her gaze at Derek Carter was filled with anguish and self-mockery. Love or hate, it doesn't matter. In this moment, everything turned into the wind and drifted away. Faye Summer could accept the fact that he didn't love her, but she couldn't accept his cold-blooded behavior, disregarding others' lives for some purpose. Faye, I am not. He began to explain, but how could he tell her? At this moment, Derek Carter was confused. He didn't want to be misunderstood by her, but he had indeed used her. Marrying her was just a tactic to protect the woman he loved. He didn't know why Molly Weaver suddenly lost her mind and did this, but he admitted he was very selfish. To protect Teen Go, he hurt the innocent Faye Summer, yet he never regretted his actions. If it weren't for Molly Weaver's irrational actions, he wouldn't have noticed Faye Summer at all, nor would he have married her to fulfill Teen Go's wishes. Their marriage was a mistake from the beginning. 4 years ago, she left a divorce paper and walked away, leaving him with an indescribable sense of loss, but also relief. The last time he saw her at the party, he initially thought he was hallucinating. When he confirmed it was really her, an indescribable joy surged within him. Seeing her being humiliated, he didn't hesitate to stand up for her. Hearing that Molly was looking for her after an emotional outburst, he immediately went to find her. Was it truly for Molly, or because he wanted to see her? Even he wasn't sure. Outside, a light drizzle was falling. Faye Summer curled up alone on the balcony, listening to the rain patter against the glass, engrossed in reading a novel. Only at this moment could she fully immerse herself in her own world, enjoying this rare tranquility. Ring ring ring. The phone's ringing interrupted Faye Summer's rare leisurely moment. She put down the book, stretched languidly, and got up to answer the phone. Hello, who is this? It's me. The familiar cold voice came from the other end. As soon as Faye Summer heard the voice, she recognized who it was. A gentle smile appeared on her lips. Jake, it's rare for you to call me. No wonder it's been raining so much lately, turns out you're the cause. She teased the usually quiet Jake. Chapter 27, New Mission. The day after tomorrow, Holly will pick up Ethan. You have a mission. There was a brief silence on the other end, the voice still cold, but now with a hint of helplessness and subtle tenderness. A mission? Hearing about a mission, Faye Summer was momentarily stunned, then frowned as she thought of something. Holly's coming to pick up Ethan. Aren't you afraid I'll fight with her? She sees me as a rival. Missions didn't matter much to her, she was more concerned about Holly, that crazy woman. If they hadn't grown up together, she'd be embarrassed to admit she knew Holly. She had never seen anyone as troubled as her. Every time she met Holly, she couldn't help but ask, why did you give up treatment? And without fail, they would end up fighting, causing a huge commotion. Especially after she had Ethan, their battles escalated significantly. That crazy woman even declared she'd use the Yuan plan to raise Ethan and exaggeratedly saw her as a rival. Damn it, where's the dignity? Ethan is there, she won't dare to fight you. Jake's voice came through the other end, devoid of any emotion. But what if I want to fight her? Jake, you know me. Faye Summer deliberately left her sentence unfinished, hinting at her intentions. Without some reward, I won't just follow orders, she thought to herself. I'll be back in the country next week. Jake hinted that any demands she had could be discussed when he returned. Okay. What's the mission? Faye Summer agreed readily, steering the conversation toward the task at hand. She wasn't naive. Jake had been abroad for years, and their main operations were overseas. He wouldn't return unless it was necessary. His decision to come back, coinciding with the timing of this mission, was clearly linked. It's important, and discussing it over the phone isn't convenient. Jake didn't want to take on this mission unless absolutely necessary. Despite the enticing benefits, the potential cost of failure was too high. After much consideration, he decided to return home himself. Faye Summer frowned. It was rare to hear such a serious tone from Jake, indicating the mission was indeed extraordinary. Is it an assassination or protection? Their missions varied. As long as the client paid enough, they could either be bodyguards or invisible assassins. Her hands were stained with blood. Both. Jake answered her question directly. Okay, I'll take the mission. Bring the client's details when you return. Faye Summer agreed to the mission without further inquiry. On the other end of the line, Jake responded with a neutral, After exchanging a few more words, as Faye Summer was about to hang up, Jake suddenly said, Old Master Bennett asked me to pass on a message. Next month is his birthday celebration, and he wants you to come back. Hearing this, a hint of coldness flashed in Faye Summer's eyes, and her lips curled into a mocking smile. She replied, He still hasn't given up, has he? I won't give up. Jake's voice carried a trace of dissatisfaction. After a brief silence, he added, My life is worth $1 million. Understanding Jake's implication, Faye Summer shook her head slightly. Your life is cheap. $1 million can't even buy 1% of the Bennett's maritime shares. Don't tell me you're considering such a losing deal. That old man deserves to die, but not now. I'm not short on money, Jake acknowledged her understanding. Old Master Bennett had repeatedly caused trouble, trying to force her back to the Bennett family. If the old man hadn't been so ruthless, she wouldn't have been so severely injured back then. If she hadn't stopped him, Jake would have killed the old man 7 years ago. Jake, I understand your point. But that old man can't die yet, he still serves a bigger purpose for me. Bennett owes me, and it's not something that can be repaid with his life alone. Thinking about that despicable family made Faye Summer feel nauseated. Death would be too easy for them. If not for old Master Bennett's efforts to make her return to the family, she wouldn't have discovered the anomalies and asked Holly to investigate the past regarding her parents. What childhood sweetheart mistress? What car accident leaving no remains? It was all a string of lies to cover up a filthy truth. Her mother was indeed a mistress, but after her mother gave birth to her, that bastard Bennett gave her away to another man. Even the old man who kept insisting she return to the family had insulted her. That car accident wasn't an accident, her mother intentionally argued with Bennett on the highway, intending to die together. But she died, and that beast survived by luck. Bennett, she would not let it go. The pain her mother endured, she would reclaim it all. She wouldn't spare any of those bastards. Hanging up the phone, a cold gleam flashed in Faye Summer's eyes, and her lips curled into a bloodthirsty smirk. Bang! A gunshot rang out, piercing the quiet night. Late at night, in a deep, dark alley, a figure struggled to keep running forward, closely pursued by a man holding a handgun with agile movements. Woof woof woof. Woof woof woof. Damn it! The man fleeing ahead ran straight towards a residential area. The sound of gunfire in the night had awakened the large wolves kept in the area, and in an instant, the surroundings were filled with the sound of barking dogs. Not far ahead was the residential area, with small dark forests on either side. The best choice at the moment was that residential area. Once inside, the assassin would surely be more cautious. But, looking at the gunshot wound on his left shoulder, he hesitated. The fleeing man hesitated for a moment, took off his coat, and threw it onto the flower bed at the entrance of the small forest on the left, then ran into the forest from the entrance ahead. He was gambling. Gambling that his little ruse would fool his pursuer. He found a relatively hidden spot to watch the man chasing him pick up his coat and observe the surroundings, decisively heading towards the residential area. Phew! The man hiding in the small forest breathed a sigh of relief, but immediately after, he blacked out and fainted. Early the next morning, the rain from the past few days finally stopped. Faye Summer, along with Ethan, who had been cooped up at home for days, went outside. Having stayed indoors for several days, Ethan was as energetic as if injected with adrenaline, running around excitedly, unable to find his bearings. Faye Summer wore a light green sports outfit, looking healthy and vibrant, with her jet black hair tied in a ponytail, revealing her fair neck and delicate features. Her youthful aura made her look like a fresh graduate, exuding an irresistible charm. Hashtag Chapter 28, The Gentleman and the Tofu. Today, Ethan wore a matching outfit with Faye Summer, a light green children's sportswear that made him look adorable, fair-skinned, and chubby like a little bun. "I'm not scared, I'm a tofu hero, protecting Dan Dan." Little Ethan pointed at the parrot egg he had tied by one leg and confidently patted his chest. Tofu hero. Faye Summer's mouth twitched. What on earth is that? If you're protecting Dan Dan, do you not need mommy anymore? Ethan, mommy is very sad. Faye Summer intentionally put on a sad face to tease Ethan. I love mommy the most in the world. I love you so much it hurts my heart. Ethan earnestly ran to her, hugging her leg and rubbing against it. His sweet, tender voice and deep declaration of love left Faye Summer caught between laughter and tears. Could someone please tell her when her precious Ethan turned into such a romantic? Is this the prelude to finding her a daughter-in-law? The previous issue hadn't been resolved, and now there's this deep declaration of love. What are you trying to do, little Ethan? Faye Summer decided she needed to have a serious talk with the boy about life, discussing some topics to guide Ethan back to the right path. Ethan, let mommy tell you. She took a deep breath, but before she could finish her sentence, the string tying Dan Dan's leg suddenly disappeared from Ethan's hand. Ethan hurriedly chased after the string, leaving Faye Summer standing alone, bewildered in the morning breeze. Ah! Mommy! Mommy! Shaking her head, Faye Summer finally accepted the reality of being abandoned by her son, when suddenly she heard Ethan's frightened scream coming from the small forest ahead. What happened? What's going on? Ethan! Ethan! Faye Summer dashed toward the source of Ethan's scream, only to find Ethan wide-eyed, crouching beside a bush, poking at something with a stick, looking very calm. Mommy, there's a weird uncle sleeping here. Ethan threw the stick away, clapped his small hands, and pointed at the unidentified object lying in the bush. Weird uncle. Faye Summer frowned and stepped closer to see the weird uncle Ethan mentioned. It was a Western man wearing a black silk shirt, with striking features that exuded an extraordinary aura, as if he had stepped out of a movie. His entire presence radiated a noble yet slightly sinister vibe. Faye Summer caught a strong scent of blood from him, guessing he was injured and had fainted there. Ethan, stop playing around. Let's go home and let the uncle sleep peacefully. Faye Summer didn't want to get involved in this mess. The man's identity was surely complicated, and whoever attacked him wasn't ordinary. Saving him would mean inviting trouble, and she despised complications the most. Who would have thought Ethan would shake his head and point at the man on the ground, saying, "It's cold here, uncle might catch a cold while sleeping." Mommy, can we take him home to sleep? Ethan can give up his bed for him. Faced with Ethan's innocent big eyes, Faye Summer didn't know how to explain the complexities of the adult world. After thinking for a while, she looked at Ethan seriously and said, "Ethan, Mommy has taught you not to bring strangers home. It could be very dangerous if they turn out to be bad people, do you understand?" "I understand, Mommy. I remember everything you say. But he's so pitiful, Mommy, can we take him home?" Ethan held his mommy's hand, shaking it back and forth, like a little puppy wanting a bone, looking at her with big, innocent, and adorably sparkling eyes. "He's so handsome, he could be my daddy." After a while, Ethan blurted out another shocking statement. "Pfft." Faye Summer almost spit out a mouthful of blood. "Who on earth taught him to say such things?" "You little rascal, who taught you to say that? Does your mommy seem so desperate to bring home any man to be her husband? Are you silly?" She poked Ethan's forehead with her finger, giving him an angry glare. "Hee hee." Aunt Holly said, "Mommy really needs a man." "Mommy, why do you need a man? Can you eat a man, Mommy?" Ethan looked up, pouting with curiosity. "That pesky fox again. Naughty kid, you're teaming up with others to bully Mommy. Let's see if I won't spank you." The mother and son were playing when they heard a faint groan from the man lying on the ground. "Help me, cough cough." The man on the ground opened his eyes to see a tall, slender woman with a chubby, adorable child of about 3 or 4 years old beside her. With no other options, he asked for help. Faye Summer frowned, showing a hint of reluctance between her brows. "Mommy." Ethan looked at her with big, watery eyes, pleading. Faye Summer sighed, pinching Ethan's soft cheek and grumbled, "I must owe you from a past life." Muttering, she squatted down to help the man up and took him home.